Hello Year 6, it's Miss Jobbins here with Lesson 2 of your explanatory text. We hope that you're enjoying it and that you found yesterday's lesson useful. We're hoping that as well as that you've not only looked at how to research each of these areas, so you've thought about your clarifying, your search, your delving, your evaluating, and you've followed the basic instructions and you've also watched that video at the bottom, that you've now got a bank of answers for these questions because you are going to be using them in this second lesson today, particularly looking at your planning section, because these are going to be really, really useful and really, really helpful in your planning, as these will probably, and I'm recommending this, be used as your subheadings. Now, if you're still not 100% sure what a subheading is, can I remind you that you can use your grammar resource slides, which are on the side for you, as well as that, not only for grammar, but it also gives you a detailed description on what are headings, what are subheadings, how to make them catchy, how to make them exciting, etc. But a subheading is a heading, that's like a title, given to a subsection of a piece of writing. So subsection means like kind of like an equivalent of a bullet point. When we're making a point, they're used to describe a section of what you're already talking about. So these here are all they are questions which you should have answered yesterday and have them all in front of you in detail. These will be your subheadings. Now, you don't have to use all of these in your plans if you don't want to, but I recommend you using some of them because I think they'll be really useful. Particularly these, like this one, number 6, you could use as like your fun fact section in your planning. That would be really helpful, I think. But that's up to you, and it is completely up to you on how you'd like to present them. So today in lesson 2, we're going to be looking at identifying the features of an explanation text, particularly the features, the structure of an explanation text. We're going to be looking at a success criteria, which you're going to be using in your own information, and some useful information that we've added for you. So as you know, we start every single lesson in Year 6 with a spelling starter. These spellings are taken from our statutory Year 5 and 6 spelling lists. Now today we're asking you to write them down in a super sentence for each of these common exception words. Your words are ancient, apparent, appreciate, attached, available, and average. Now remember, if you don't understand what any of these words are, I would recommend you getting yourself a dictionary and defining them first, because that will really help in developing your understanding of the words and also helping you in your learning of the words as well. They'd be really, really useful. So as I said, today it's asking you to build a super sentence. Can you, in that super sentence, include adjectives or a conjunction? Can you use a forest or trick of 3 in those sentences? And then I'd like you to write them out in your neatest handwriting, thinking about our handwriting Year 6, and then developing them further by writing them down. Can you think of any synonyms or antonyms for them? Once you've done that, can you then upload those to Dojo, please, alongside the rest of your work that you're doing today? So please remember to pause this video and come back to me once you've done that. Good luck. Hello and welcome back to week 1 of your explanation text lesson 2. So we know that explanation texts usually include all of these key features. A title which is catchy. The whole piece is written in the present tense in a formal or semi-formal language. The text is always arranged into paragraphs with those subheadings. So we spoke about using these questions that you did yesterday as your subheadings. You also need to think about an introduction to your topic, how to be a teacher. You need to use your main ideas as well as given with some descriptive language. You think about those subheadings as well, as I've already said, for each of the sections. You've got the time connectives and the conjunctions. Now, I'm not going to go through all of your grammatical language because, as you can see on the website, I've also included some teaching points in your grammar resource. You should go through that at the start of every lesson, Year 6. No matter what it is, you need to go through them at the start of every lesson just to recap your understanding of that grammar. You've been off for 2 weeks now, and sometimes we can get easily muddled because some of them are easy to muddle. You need to make sure that you're fully confident in them, so you're putting them in successfully. And when it comes to you ticking them off in your success criteria, you're making sure that you're fully understanding what each of them are. But they include things such as first, then, next, later, finally, and they help the reader to understand the order, because you don't necessarily with explanation text need to put them in chronological order. That's more for instruction text. With explanation text, they need to be in a semi-logical order. However, you need to think of technical vocab. Now, these can sometimes be in bold. Sorry, that's an email. Like here, that's in that thick writing, which you can do. And you need to remember when using subject-specific vocabulary, so that technical vocab, you need to put it in bold and in the glossary, which I'll come on to in a moment. So it can include examples such as, if this text was about a car, it may include words such as ignition, engine, and bonnet. You might, because this text is about how to be a teacher, you might mention words such as university. You might want to think about other technical words such as NQT. That's a newly qualified teacher. That's what teachers go through, or that's what they're called in their first year of teaching. That will need to be incorporated into your writing. And if you say, for example, like I just did then with NQT, you've abbreviated it to just some letters like NQT, newly qualified teacher, those will be in brackets, but then they'll be put in because that's technical vocab. As well as that, you're going to include a glossary. Now, some of you might not know what a glossary is. A glossary is a bank of words that explain the technical vocab. I will explain it more in a moment, but a glossary is basically a bullet point or sentences of the technical vocabulary included in your writing, which are then described or defined and then given an example in a sentence. But I'll take you through more of that in a moment when it comes to your planning sheet. And then also you need to think about the diagram. So when you're planning, like we sometimes do in class, I'd use a Post-it note and just Post-it note when you're writing your planning what diagrams you're using. Now, I know some of you across this year group really love drawing and things like that. I would save that until you are writing up your final piece. There is no point in you spending loads of time writing or drawing, I should say, pardon me, loads of beautiful, intricate, detailed pictures for your plan. I would just get a Post-it note and Post-it note, this is the picture I want and this is the caption, so the little example that you're going to write underneath it in that section. And then when you come to fully writing up, you go, oh, that Post-it note has shown me that I'm going to draw a picture of this with this label or caption, and captions, I should say, because in a explanation text, you usually have pictures or diagrams that are adequately labeled, as you can see very briefly from these examples here at the top. So you need to make sure you have information below to explain what picture it is, and you've also labeled it. So, as you can see here, your first task is going to be identifying the features of an explanation text. You've got 2 of these example texts here. These example texts will be for you to look at. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my house phone is ringing, which doesn't help, so I do apologise. The example text here are asking you to print out a copy if you can, or just look at them here. Can you annotate them using your knowledge and understanding so far and the information provided to you? Can you identify the key features of an explanation text in this piece of writing? Don't forget to use the grammar resource slides and your success criteria, which can be found on the next slide. So here, which I'll go along with you in a moment, can you use them to identify the key features? For example, I can already see things like pictures with captions. You can also see a catchy title. You can also see an introduction. Are there any key grammatical terms? Now, I would recommend you going through your grammar resource now, pausing it, and then coming back to it so you can identify the key features as you go along. It's really, really important for you to do that. Now you need to pause this and then you're going to be going through the answers on the next slide. Hello and welcome back. Now you should have annotated your best text, or you should have annotated your example text 1 already, and then now it's time for you to sit down and go through each of these key elements. Now, as you can see, these have been color coded for you. You need to make sure, have you got all of these? If there aren't any, identify the areas which you haven't already got. Have a think about what is being included. What elements do you need to include when you're doing these? So you need to use this annotated explanation text to support your writing. Look at the annotations and make sure that you have included them all in your own writing, because these are really, really important. We'd then like you to do it again. However, this example, as you can see here, how point shoes came to be, lovely opening title. I want to know more about it. Look at this second example here. So I print that out, and this is an example of a greater depth moderation writing piece. You can find more of these at the bottom, if I can get that up here now, on our website. You can find them at the bottom of the website here. You can find more examples of them here. Now, this is a greater depth example, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what we're expecting a lot of you, no, most of you, to be able to achieve at the end of the year. So I would use this as an example for your own piece of writing in particular. Now, this is also being used for moderation. So when, as I said, when we take your books, we look at examples like this and go, this child is this. So this is really, really important. What we'd like you to do is, for the exact same as this one, the snooze one, we'd like you to print this off and annotate this one as well. It's really important to go through it and make sure you've identified all the specific features. There is 2 slides to this, so please make sure that you go through both of these. Please pause the video, print those out, and off you go. Good luck. Those can also be found on pages, I think I wrote it down, pages 27 and 28 of the example text I've attached to your website. Please pause this video and then come back. Hello and welcome back. Now, just the same as before, you need to have annotated the 2 pieces of paper that I provided for you in this lesson. And here are the actual real moderation examples. Now, these follow exactly what we look for when we're marking. So these are the kind of things that we look for. Now, it's obviously not as annotated as the previous one, and hopefully you would have annotated this more, but you can see here what us as teachers and also moderators, so that's people who moderate for a living, so look at children's work and give them a grade. This is what the kind of thing they look for. So I would recommend you sitting down and reading through these, because this is exactly what we want yours to look like. Because when you come back to school, you're going to be writing it up yourself. So it goes on to 3 pages. It's 1, 2, and then here. So I know this is a really, really long lesson. So if this does go on to tomorrow, Wednesday, that's absolutely okay. So this is a structure of an explanation text. As you can see here, I'm not going to go through it all, but you need to think about the series of general statements, the logical steps explaining how or why something occurs, and the steps used. So as you can see here, it's a series of explanatory statements, and here is the summary of the things that you need to make sure that you include in your own piece of writing. If you are stuck at any point, ladies and gentlemen, please don't hesitate to contact myself, that's Miss J, or your class teacher. We'd be more than happy to help you out. So, I don't know why this hasn't changed. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. That's so weird. That's so weird. It should have changed. So, anyway, for some reason, that's not changed, which is not helpful whatsoever. So, this planning sheet here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, did I save it to the wrong place like a dingbat? Of course I did. Dingbat Jobbins, they call me. So, this planning sheet we're going to get rid of. and we're going to put a copy of this one in. Now, as it says here, it says, using the questions you've answered in your first lesson and all the information you have researched, you will use the questions, if you like to, as subheadings in your text. Make sure you write out the success criteria when you are planning, using the grammar slides to support anything you don't understand. And you can magpie the model examples. Once you've read over the examples, complete this planning sheet, which you can see here. And all these little red areas are examples or things to support you in your writing. And it will help you to structure and lay out your explanation text on how to be a teacher. I would recommend as well that you use your success criteria when you're going along. Now, I would always remember, ladies and gentlemen, that when you're using a success criteria and you're ticking it along, you make sure you know and you understand what each of these are asking you to do. So as you can see here at the bottom, the last sort of 5, factual technical information, third person passive voice, formal tone and present tense, illustrations, causal or casual conjunctions, and aphorist, etc. They can all be found in your grammar resource. And now I have given you your own teaching point to take you through the grammar resources. And each of them are explained in a lot of detail with videos and activities. Please go through them before you go through any of this. Now, as well as that, you need to think about, as I've already explained, all of these other points. Now, if you are stuck on any of these, please make sure you feel confident in them before you start ticking them off. You do not just tick them off willy-nilly. You need to make sure that you know what each of these are and that you feel adequately confident in doing them. Because there is no point in you writing them and saying you've done them without knowing what each of them are. So please make sure you feel confident. Now, like I said, please print a copy of this slide off as well, because it'd be really important that whenever you are writing any of this, you either have it up in front of you or you have it next to you for when you're planning, particularly on that planning sheet. Now, like I said, you do not have to use this planning sheet if you do not want to. You can just use it as a basis for your writing. Now, as I've said before, if you are stuck on anything, please do not hesitate to get in contact with us. We are here to help you. We wish you the best of luck and hope you enjoy your planning session today. The outcome for this lesson today is that you would have gone through those 2 modelled examples and annotated them using the success criteria and your knowledge so far, as well as the grammar resources, and you would have started your planning today. Best of luck and look forward to it. Please make sure to upload them by 3 o'clock today. Speak soon. Bye.